That is honestly my reaction, because Paul American, Logan Paul and Jake Paul's TV series, is now officially out, although you probably wouldn't know it. And why do I make a claim like that? Because not one single soul on the planet is actually talking about the show itself. Episode 1 is out, I've hardly seen any traction about it, anybody talking about it, anyone giving their thoughts on it, it just isn't happening. Over my past few videos speaking about Paul American, I knew people weren't particularly interested in it, but I thought at least content creators might be using it for content. Content creators are not using it for content. This is how bad this show is. Currently on IMDb, this show has a 1.8 out of 10, which is just amazing. But before I read you some of these amazing reviews, I'd like to show you a video that got put out from Logan Paul and Jake Paul.
Times Square, what's good? Times Square, what's up? Let's go, New York!
Sorry, simply, who are they talking to here? There is another clip later on of this same event where there seems to be a lot more people that have filled out Times Square. But currently, when they are talking, there is literally nobody there, maybe 40 people at most. Like, genuinely, at the very, very most. I'm probably over-exaggerating with 40.
New York City, the greatest city in the world. How y'all feeling tonight? I see y'all up front, let's go!
Logan, you don't see anybody up front because nobody is there. Just like how nobody is watching Paul American. I did see this really funny comment online on some TikTok of, of somebody saying that even the illegal movie and TV show websites don't have this show. They don't want to platform it. But I've been putting you all off long enough. Let's read some of these reviews from some IMDb users that have watched episode 1 of Paul American. 1 out of 10, why does this exist? Off to a great start. I think the task is everything, but I'm obliged to put a minimum of words, which is very hard when there's nothing worth saying about shows like this. It's not worth the time to think about. I just wanted to be a good Samaritan, at least warn people to stay away from this if they don't want to lose or keep losing if this seems attractive, any more brain cells. Definitely just a heartbreaking example of a first world society with no real problems, but the lack of common sense. A society that thinks their feelings are over the truth and facts. Anyway, awful show from irrelevant people. Aren't you all home really excited to watch this TV show? Yeah, this review's made me really pumped. 1 out of 10, terrible. Unlike where this one is going, this one seems like it's going to be incredibly positive. Jake Paul's new show, Paul American, is a poor example for young men and Americans. The show glorifies reckless behavior, materialism, and a lack of meaningful responsibility, sending the wrong message to impressionable viewers. Paul's antics promotes a toxic mindset where fame and wealth are prioritized over hard work and integrity. Young viewers may internalize these unhealthy values, undermining their growth and character. In a time where positive role models are essential, Paul American fails to contribute anything constructive to society, reinforcing harmful stereotypes. I would never recommend this terrible show to anyone. People are saying that this show is so shit, it's actually destructive to society. The Pauls have done some absolutely horrific and disgusting things in their time on the internet, but I've never seen anyone talk about a show like this, even if it is by the Pauls. Also, I must say, just reading out IMDb reviews and pointing and laughing at this show might be the easiest thing I have ever done, and I definitely need to do more of it. 1 out of 10, who wants to watch this? To answer that, genuinely nobody. Some of the teaser trailers for the next upcoming episodes have around like 5,000 views, and their official account has something crazy like 600 followers, and their tweets get about 60 likes. Nobody genuinely cares about this show. I knew nobody really would, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. I still thought Logan Paul and Jake Paul's core audience might be interested in this, might show it some attention, and I thought it might pick up a little bit of steam online, but it just hasn't picked up anything. Genuinely, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody talking about this show positively or just at all. HBO, what are you doing? Couldn't be less interested in two people less than this. Please revert back to documentaries and behind the scenes of actual sports stars or teams. This is a jab at the intelligence of the average viewer. No, I'm not interested in a Disney star turned performative amateur boxer ruining the sport once coveted by your network. HBO has lost the plot completely. HBO revolutionized the world of boxing 30 years ago, providing excellent coverage of all sports of cards. I'm sure you have footage from those fights. HBO, Fight Night was the pinnacle, and now you are promoting this garbage. How has it come to this? Genuinely, this show is not liked whatsoever, but I don't know what they've done, I don't know what they've cooked, but whatever they have cooked, it's not good. You just know as well, right, that Jake Paul and Logan Paul thought this was going to be a massive hit. They thought that, this is going to pull numbers. People are going to love this, right? Or at least people are going to talk about this negatively enough that it's really going to push it out there. But neither have happened. In the past, they've said about, hatred being, the biggest thing online, right? The thing that really fuels them, really pushes them, right? Gets them out out there, the viewerships, all that type of stuff. Realistically, nobody's even having the breath to properly hate on them to get it to that extent. It's really kind of funny. 1 out of 10, appalling. See, I got that. I've watched these two brothers for a couple years now, and I really wanted the show to be pretty good, but it really doesn't tell me much. It just tells me how redneck rich these people actually are, and it seems like they're really money hungry people, and I get that they work hard and that they've been in the spotlight for a while, but it's just not good. It's a terrible show. I mean, I almost felt like I had to poke my eyes out with pencils out of the first 20 minutes. I mean, it's really not good. Like, don't waste your time on the show, you're just not going to want that time back, and guess what? You're not going to get any of that time back. You know you're kind of in trouble when your core audience, right? Somebody that's watched you for a few years now, really into your stuff, and you know, is genuinely interested in this show and wants the show to be good, succeed, or whatever, doesn't like your show. That's a really bad sign, because of course, you know, even if people like the haters or people just in general aren't talking about your show, at least you're going to have your core audience, but it seems like even the core audience really don't like this and don't care for it, which is not a good sign. Of course, loads of people are going to leave negative reviews, but I think the most important ones and the most interesting ones here are the ones coming from fans or people that have watched Logan Paul and Jake Paul for a considerable amount of time. It's really interesting to see their perspective and how they don't like the show either. There's a few more reviews, but I would like to go over this little teaser trailer they released, you know, the one that has like 5,000 views. I would actually just like to, you know, quickly take a look at that.
Mike can't fight.
Holy shit.
I've been in training camp. The date is booked. Let's see who's crazy enough to fight me on 7 weeks' notice.
I do really like how it says this season on Paul American, which I think is kind of optimistic, because that kind of assumes that they're going to get more than one season. I really don't think they are going to get that other season. There's basically no news coverage of this show, right? Like people putting out reviews, and the one that has, Variety, have just said it sucks. So, you know, can't wait for season 2.
Do you like it?
It's your project. I could give a fuck about how I feel about it.
It's a big transition from jumping off the top rope to discussing where the crypt should go.
This chapter of my life is skating, so I have to sacrifice my happiness, basically. But I feel that purpose of really wanting to become a mom.
Well, you could quit your sport.
No, I can't.
Oh, and everyone cheered that they don't give a fuck. I mean, this show really didn't have a chance, right? It's on HBO, right? So it's behind a paywall. It's about Jake and Logan Paul. If you really want to see anything from them, they've got a bunch of free vlogs that pretty much show the same thing. You know, they tweet similar crap out. So realistically, you don't need to watch the show whatsoever, and you know pretty much everything that's going to happen. One of the big plot lines, Mike Tyson's pulled out the fight. Well, we actually saw that boxing fight several months ago, so who cares?
Before I take a break to become a father, I gotta do something memorable.
The fear of him breaking his neck is very real.
Let me tell Greg what this is.
Dad. When he calls me Greg, it's a certain amount of disrespect. I'm never Greg to you. I'm always your dad.
My dad refused to acknowledge that he was physical with us.
Oh, stop it!
I have been waiting to tell this story.
She's trying to frame me like a bad person.
Greg Paul says that he's being framed as a bad person. You don't need any help with that. You just look like a bad person regardless. Like, genuinely, no one needs to frame you. That might genuinely be the only interesting thing about this show, is the perspective of Greg Paul. What they say about Greg Paul, what they show about Greg Paul. But if it's genuinely that interesting, people are going to clip it up and put it on TikTok anyways. So there's genuinely no point watching the show.
Fuck the Paul, written by their mother.
I think it would be easier than we think.
Logan has no idea what he's in for.
You can't get hammered like that. It's self-inflicted, babe. You did this to yourself.
I'm gonna throw up.
I had the idea of you're at home and it happens.
That was the plan anyway.
She's going into labor.
Bro, we gotta get off this planet.
They're still commenting. This is rigged. Fuck this guy.
See, I mean, they were at least commenting something about that. I mean, nobody's commenting something about your show, so I mean, I would take, you know, where I can get it. Still genuinely blows me away how nobody's really talking about the show or interacting with it on really any level or any capacity. I mean, genuinely, I have no idea if this video would do well because nobody's talking about the show.
I'm taking a $60 million risk. It literally has to pay off.
And that's Paul American, or at least how Paul American Episode 1 has gone down. But nobody watching, if you've watched Paul American Episode 1, please feel free to comment down below your thoughts on the episode in the comments. And, you know, let's be realistic here, because 99% of you watching definitely haven't watched it. Also, comment down below your thoughts. Because I have been your host, Samuel, and once you're done then, you might as well subscribe, by the way, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video.